Now, so be careful what you're saying. We're streaming now, so just let me know as soon as it comes up. And hello everyone, of all those people that are watching. We've just started a live stream for the weekly catch-up, and hopefully it will be everyone, of all those people that are watching. I can hear myself speaking, so live stream for the weekly catch-up.
Sorry.
Well, okay, so I'll start recording in, I'll put it back to this one. Yep, I'll start recording now in 3, 2, 1. Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of the Weekly Catch-Up, number 20, I believe, Mr. Holbrook, isn't it? And of course, Mr. Holbrook is our co-host of the Weekly Catch-Up. Anyway, yes, here's 20. Our intro. Well, anybody would think we did this professionally, how well that went, wouldn't they? Little... No,
yeah,
little do they know
we just beginners luck though on episode 20 though.
But I think we're getting better at it. But the thing that sort of just not frightened me, but I saw was looking at the YouTube live stream thing, and it said beta. I thought, oh, is this just a trial? Is this going to go the same way as Blab, that all of a sudden will say no? Too many people's doing their own thing and not watching anything else. Shall we stop the live streaming?
I don't know. I think YouTube, they are happy as long as people are there watching things. As long as people are on YouTube, they're happy. And I think they've got such amazing clientele and such numbers that I don't think they're really worried about people doing this, or they wouldn't have provided it in the first place.
There was somebody in Los Angeles and somewhere else in America had their 40-minute catch-up, was talking about gear and that, and I thoroughly enjoyed that too. So I thought, well, hopefully people are doing the same as I did, just watching them talking about things that they like to do, and so I'll subscribe to their channel as well. But the thing is, I get suckered in now these days. So I've got a nice big 63-inch LED or whatever TV, and you go down from here. So I'm not going to sit in the front of the computer anymore, so I go down and sit in front of the 63-inch TV and watch YouTube, because you can have that. But it's such good quality these days. The quality it's coming out, that's just phenomenal.
Oh, it totally is. I spent the last couple of hours coming up to the show. I just sit down, and of course, I could watch Netflix. We have Amazon Prime or whatever. I was watching YouTube, and I was watching videos on people building outdoor fireplaces, of all things. When it gets to be fall, I really enjoy the outdoors and doing things outside, and I want to build us right now it would be a pretty primitive fire pit with a grate over it, so we can do some cooking outside with cast iron cookware and things when we go on vacation in a couple of weeks. And I really enjoy that, and I love watching the videos and watching the bushcraft things, where people doing different things outside, and I just spent a couple
I did do the same thing, but a bit like you, I tend to want to get out and just not sit in front of the TV, but every time I try to do that, it seems to get back there. So I don't know if I said the other week, but the other week I decided I've got to get out into the garden and do some weeding the garden beds and that, and so I spent 4 hours doing that on the other Sunday, and then I got to work on the Monday, and I just couldn't understand why my hands weren't working properly. But it was me pulling all those weeds out. So then I decided the following weekend just to sit down and watch some YouTube or some Netflix or whatever like that. So it was always very strange to do different things like that. So, but it's just amazing what you can get on. I'll just watch a little bit on YouTube, and then it always suggests something that it knows you're going to like after you finish something else.
Oh, totally. Yeah, the intuitiveness of it is really kind of scary sometimes. There'll be something, sometimes it'll suggest that you wasn't actually watching, but you were thinking about, maybe watching on the subject later, but they know that because you were watching candle making, that you definitely want to see this video on making dill pickles. And so they put that up. Somehow they know that, and they put that up, and then I watch this dill pickle video,
out there. But I think we're all the suckers for that. But they do say though that like Google was there for the Google search engine, but that's what most people just get onto YouTube now and use that as a search engine. I know I do anything, and I just went around to somebody's place on the weekend, was helping them with their computer, and they had Photoshop. And they wanted to know how to do this photo and do layers and do layer masks and all that. And I said, I know how to do that. And so go there, open up their Photoshop, but it's version 7, so about 6 years old. And so it doesn't resemble anything like Photoshop that I'm used to. So I thought I couldn't even find the brush icon to get the brush on there. So what I had to do is go to YouTube and then type in layer masks Photoshop version 7. And of course, there was somebody out there that had recorded exactly what I wanted to do in Photoshop version 7. But can if you had things that you'd bought 6 years ago or 7 years ago and anywhere else before this happened, before YouTube and that, you said, well, tough, you won't find an instruction book online, you just got to figure it out yourself. But it's just quite amazing that just because and if you type the words correctly in the right order, just make it short and brief, it will damn well find what you want. So it's just amazing.
Yeah, pretty well. I mean, I had I wanted to replace a faucet, the inside of a faucet in my shower in here, and all of a sudden I thought, well, when I replaced the inside of it, it's like, well, that wasn't working very well. And so what happened was I did the replacement, and then I got to looking at that, got on YouTube and looked for that particular brand of faucet, and then I looked at it and I said, oh, I didn't put that funny little spring thing in there. I didn't know what that was for. And it actually fixed it. I'm looking at the live stream, and I'm looking a little jerky on the live stream right now. Let me listen to the volume a little bit and see what I'm... Now, let me see if I sound jerky. No, it's actually... No, it's working fine. Okay, I was
looking at the stream and I thought
on the video. I just want to make sure I wasn't making that funny noise again.
The meters going up and down, and I can usually tell because what it was doing before, it was nothing and then just hitting the roof stop. Not consistent with whereas it's consistent now, but
yeah.
Well, I didn't get. We did.
Did you get any tech things done this week?
I sort of got back into started to put some video together, and the thing is with video editing is I absolutely love doing it, but I don't like to just switch on the computer and do it for half an hour. I've got to have something where I know I'm going to have 3 or 4 hours I can do it, or else I don't enjoy it because and I did that last night. I did about 4 hours just messing around. I thought I'll get it ready for the show. But of course, when you're trying to do something, if you just get it ready, throw it together in an hour, it's just rubbish. But I try to put it together to, even it might be it's nothing fantastic, but I like to try and make a bit of a story. So, I had shots of me going down to a place we got down here called Phillip Island, and the picture of the car and me walking the dog, and I put one of the cameras on the ground and walking off there, and you saw the seagull bit I had, and I incorporated that, and then I incorporated it after a bit of that the drive home, and then when we go past one of the factories coming back from home just round the corner from here, and then I cut to me and William walking up that same street, but it was it was on a different day, but people don't know that. You've got the information and then trying to link all the bits and pieces together. And then I've got me, the Osmo, so Williams walking there, and then all of a sudden I show the back, the rear shot of us walking away. So I love doing things like that. But if there was somebody else there helping, it would make it much, much easier because I would do a lot more challenging things. But I'm too scared to do that because if you're on your own, you put your camera 100 yards ahead, it might not be there by the time you get there.
That is true. Also,
Well,
you
I
see
did one.
somebody
I did
where they're
one. I
facing
don't know
front of the
in
camera real
Los
quick, and all of a
Angeles. I
sudden they
did
scrap
one
and take
in
off. Yeah.
the old Griffith Park. They've got the old Los Angeles Zoo there, and the old Los Angeles Zoo has been deserted since 1963. So there's just cages there and just the places where they had all the animals, and it's just a park.
Wow.
And so I just filmed me walking, and I put it on a brick wall or something. But then I had to walk around the corner to make it look like I was coming out from there. So I was ever so scared that it just wasn't going to be there. And then I stuck the camera inside one of the cages. And then I walked past the cage, so it looked. And then as soon as I walked past, then I quickly did it out and put it at the front. So it looked quite good. But it's just all this thing just for about 30 seconds worth of video. But it makes it look really good because when you see the cage is in focus, and you see me blurry walking past it. So it was ever so good. I enjoyed doing that.
I mean, I've watched the videos of yours that I've watched. I think I've watched everything you've got on your channel. You are really good at telling the story. I mean, I really love the stuff like that you do. You take the time to do because it tells the story, and it's just you're very good with the idea of keeping the continuity and telling the story, and in the order you want it told in.
That's what I'd like to do. Sometimes
very well done. I
think
it's been well.
People put a lot of content and say, "Oh, they'll show and share a lot of things." But I don't. I try. If I haven't got time to do it properly, I tend not to do it because I thought there's so much out there of just somebody filming the cat or something. There's plenty of that, and I thought I could do that, but I'm not going to do that. I'll do it filming the dog instead. So
there you go. Has to be the dog. Yeah. If you're a dog guy, then you better film a dog. You don't want to film a cat because William would really be upset about that.
Oh.
I had a almost completely non-tech week until about 4 hours ago. And I checked my email about 2 this morning. And my friend from the new Christian ministry podcast that I'd help him get started, he's got an episode that is so long that he was going to split it up into 2 episodes. So he needed a new outro voiceover for the podcast. And I didn't see it until about 2 in the morning. He had sent it to me about 8 hours earlier. And so it's his night off too. So he was working on all that. And so it's really funny. I just go through the process that I went through in order to do that. Having everything already set up here and ready to do it. I actually got it when I got done. I looked back and I had got it done so quickly. And got it to him so quickly that I was really, really surprised when I looked back on it and says, wow, that was easy. But what happened was he had the actual text of what he wanted, a short outro at the end of the podcast. And he had the exact text he wanted. It was in the email. So I went downstairs. I got my tablet, brought up the email, went into the booth, turned everything on, recorded, already had it set up, just recorded 3 takes. And all on one long recording like I always do. Brought the thing out here, put it into the computer, loaded it directly off of that into Audacity, and figured out, I did noise reduction, figured out which one I like the best, cut the other ones out, put silence, because I'm getting such good, clean recordings in here that I can just put silence between the phrases. It's not like, I don't have that noise gate sound to it. So I can put silence between it and you can't tell. And so I just put silence between the phrases, did my leveling thing to make sure that was happy, and I saved it as the WAV file, and then I emailed it to him. And whenever I got done, I got looking, and I did that in less than a half an hour turnaround time on this little voiceover thing, simply because everything is sitting here and ready to go at any given time. It's not in a way. And so if you want to hear what that sounded like, I actually have I put it in the Dropbox, the WAV file. If you wanted to hear that, but but like you say, I whipped that out in less than a half an hour because he had the text already, because we'd worked together on these before, he had the text already. Did that, boom, out the door. And it only took, like
So
you say,
you put it in a
less than half
Dropbox
an hour to get it
today,
completely
did
finished
you?
and out the door.
I'm just...
Just a little bit ago. Yeah, just a little bit ago. It's the one that says RBF
I can't see it in there.
outro, podcast outro or something like that.
Let's just have a
Split
look, see if it's
split
not in the
episode.
recent ones, but maybe it's in the...
Let me check again
Let's
here.
have a check. Because the thing is, I can put it into the show, but we can't. He won't be able to hear
I'm
it.
showing
I'm
on
not
this
listening
end.
to the show. You see, so did you?
Oh, that's fine. That's true. It says RBF
I
outro
might have to check
split
something. I don't seem
episode
to be
is what the
getting.
name
I
of it
haven't
is.
got anything in there. All I've got is our last number 18 video, and we were on 19 last week, weren't we? So maybe I didn't put it in there. So no, maybe I just have to check. Maybe they've changed the password on the Dropbox, and I haven't picked that up and haven't signed in and out of it for a while. But it's yeah, because yeah.
Yeah, mine's still showing. I'm still showing Jeff track
Well, I've got
17,
in there because it's
Jeffrey track 17.
saving mine, but maybe
you know,
it's
on
not
the
going up to
17s
Dropbox because when I save
things like-
some changes to the show, it's I've got the change 23 hours ago, but that's about it. So I'll have to have a look.
Oh.
So anyway, see what, because I know there was a thing
Okay.
saying
Oh, well.
about Dropbox changed all the passwords because
Oh,
it had
that's
some
fine.
issue with somebody taking all the accounts, but that was about 4 years ago or something. So they decided to change them all now.
Oh.
And I did get an email, but then I thought, well, it hasn't asked me to change it, but maybe it's just cut me out
Well.
altogether until I go into the website and change it. So anyway, yeah, but
we
it's
we
just
thought bureaucracy
people
was
sometimes
slow
worry
in
about,
general.
aren't you worried that somebody's going to get your information? I said, well, yes, I am, but if you want to stop it, just don't get on here and do anything, because there's pretty much, if you want to have connectivity, you can stop it, like viruses. You can stop all that, but how do you stop viruses? Well, don't load anything onto your computer. Well, how do you do anything? Well, you don't. So that's...
That's true. You don't. Yeah, the way I look at the Dropbox thing, I don't think of it so much as like a backup or storage area as much as I do just a way to transfer files from one person to another that's going to be public anyway eventually. So it's it's not really going to hurt anything if they get that particular file. But as far as backing up all my private information on someone else's server,
that's
I'm
what
not
I
real
do, and
sanguine
anything
about that.
I
That's
put
why
on
I have an
Dropbox,
external 4 terabyte drive for.
As I said, but anything that you put on any of these things, you just don't put anything that's really sensitive on that, especially in the Dropbox. You said you do it at your own external storage on that as well. So I'll have to have a look after the show, because it would be nice to have a listen to that. But as I said, I bet you it's something to do with the password which I need to update on that. So yeah, so that was I've did that once before as well. As you said, I had somebody asking for a 2-minute voiceover, and they had the script, and I polished that off within an hour when they did that, and I sent that off, and they said that was good, did everything that they wanted it to do. But it's amazing when somebody else just tells you what they want, and you can do it. Whereas if you have to think about, what shall I do, or how shall I do it, you sometimes struggle a bit and take a little bit of time. But when somebody just gives you a short script, and you just do that, away you go. So,
Well, the idea of having a dedicated space to it as well, because I could have been in a situation to where, I have to get one of my recorders, and then I have to go in there, and then I have to get a mic and put it in this area, and then I have to plug it in, make sure the phantom power is on, make sure it tests my settings, do all kinds of stuff like this. Well, all I had to do, since that's dedicated to that, I have the little mixer, I have the little small digital recorder. All I had to do was turn on the power, turn on the mixer, turn on the recorder, look at my levels. They were identical to the way they were the last time. Hey, everybody, here we go. Record. Say it.
I was just
do 3 takes just to make sure.
I was just doing as you were saying there. I was just trying
Put it
to
into
adjust
the
the
computer,
volume on my
fire and
headset, and I thought the damn thing's not working. And then I realised it's got nothing to do with that. I'm adjusting the wrong bit of equipment. That's what. I've got to adjust your volume, but I'm
Because you have
adjusting
two
the
different
volume on
streams going in there with me,
the
and then
output from the show. I thought, hang on, this, why am I not getting anything? And because it would help because I thought if it gets too loud, it'll go back into the microphone and that. So I didn't wanted it to be a little bit slow. But yes, well, we did our tech down over, and I was saying to Rick, I'm trying to make this year, I think I said last week, is the year that I don't buy any equipment whatsoever. Trying to, and well, it's getting that way because it's September, so I don't have far to go now, do I? So.
No, I was going to say by the time you mentioned it, I guess you didn't want to jinx it, but by the
so
time you
I
mentioned
thought,
it, you're already 9 months
the
out of
equipment
12.
I do have, and
that's pretty good.
No, I'm not going to get convinced, no matter how good a deal it is. The only way I'm going to get some new equipment is somebody decides to donate it to me. So when that's not breaking the fast, is it? So
there you go.
they'll be giving it to me as well. And even the try to tempt with the new iPhone 7, I'm glad they brought that out, because that wasn't at all a temptation for me, because they said the phones was working, but I saw on that one, one of the big things on it went from 128 gigabytes, the big one, to the 256 gigabytes. God, that's a nice big one. And then they put into that camera
nice
the camera raw photos, so you can take. And now. And also now it's only been out a week, but now Adobe's updated Lightroom to handle those files as well. So Lightroom does handle that. So
all right, excellent.
I was just going to say that, and then they've got what confused me. They have
go ahead.
Because they've removed the headphone socket on the. They have, but then they've called it.
I was getting ready to say something about that, but I hadn't heard about it.
A set of earpods, EAR pods, and they're the same as the normal ones, but they have a lightning connector that fits into the bottom of the phone, so that works there. But what amazed me, they also have the AirPods. Is that I'm saying? AIR pods, and they're the Bluetooth version. And they're just like the normal
AirPods.
Apple earphones, but they're just like they cut the cord off. And they've got like little dangling down, look like little earrings. And they look quite strange. I don't mind them so much, but the only thing I would dread on them, you know how if you have any of those little inner ear bud headphones, they're forever falling out, aren't they? Yeah.
Well, as soon as you talk, or if you're eating, or you speak, or whatever, as soon as your jaw starts to work,
and then I'm just thinking, with your current set of headphones, the wired ones, they fall out, falls in your top pocket, or your other one's in. Oh, you just pick it up and put it back in. But I'd be scared these ones, but it falls out. Where is it? They're down on the ground in the gutter, down a drain, and that. And the $159 these AirPods, and I thought, gee, that's a bit expensive for my liking for that. But.
Yeah. Well, what I heard about it, and this is from another well-known tech guy in the podcasting community, he says that the reason they took the 1/8 inch connector out was to make it, they couldn't make it water resistant with that connector in it. And he said they are also providing a Thunderbolt to 1/8 inch adapter free with the phone. So you can still plug in the same way you did before to make that transition. But, I guess that's, as long as they're doing that, that's probably a good move. But actually making the thing water resistant, if you drop it, in the commode or something.
That's right, yes.
You've got to, of course, we've talked about not having your phone in the bathroom earlier, but in another episode. But, if you happen to drop it in the water and you can pull it out fast enough and it doesn't ruin it, that's quite the advance, because everybody's getting their phones ruined when they drop them in a water hole or something like that when they're outside.
Moving something, you bend over. I always make sure to hold it because it doesn't take much for them to fall out. But at least Apple did, as I said, they put that adapter, but also they put give you a set of headphones that do have the lightning connector on it anyway. And the only time I put headphones in that phone, to be quite honest, is with the ones that they gave me with the phone. I don't go and bother I don't care putting a $200 set of headphones on it, because I'm not that bothered with it. I just want to listen to a podcast or a little bit of music, but I don't want to deafen myself with the the iPad, the iPhone, to do that. If I want a bit of loud music, I'll stick it through some better speakers, and I can get that through my Bluetooth speaker and stick the headphones into that if I wish to do that. So.
Well, my car that I drive to work, I have an older car that I drive to work, and I keep an 1/8 inch cord sticking out in there, and I have a telephone that I do podcasting on, and I plug it in when I get in the car, and then I listen to everything that way. So, of course, it thinks headphones are plugged in, but that's about the main way that I use it with that. Now, when I'm at work, I use the same phone with Bluetooth, and then I have some Bluetooth headphones that if I decide I want to listen to podcasting at work. One of the things that I've been wanting to do with that same phone is to actually, I don't use iTunes, and I don't have anything like that, but I've got a tremendous amount of MP3 music in my collection, and I would love to be able to listen to that on that Android phone without having to have some music service or trying to stream or something, because that phone doesn't even have phone service on it. It doesn't even have anything like that. And so all what I'd like to do is import a bunch of that music into my favorite music into that phone, just like I do some of the podcasting, and actually listen to it over the Bluetooth headphones. But I haven't. I've never done that. I'm sure
you can do, because there's
I'm
ones
going to have to, I guess, start looking for some apps or something where I could figure out how to do that.
Allow for videos and different things like that you just load within the app. You just say, well, where are you going to get it from? And so you can put the files on your Dropbox or something like that, and just say, get them from here, import them into the application, and away you go, without being part of a stream. Because I'm sure you're not the only one, because there's a lot of people out there that don't. Well, me, for instance, I don't use Apple Music. I just have my CDs that are stuck on a computer with a CD-ROM, which just put them into my iTunes type thing. But I don't use Apple Music, and I don't use my streaming ones. But there's a lot of people who do that and don't want to use one of the services. And I know a lot of people have been using the Apple Music, that if you're not too careful and you don't answer the questions right, it deletes your original music anyway. And as I said, it's not doing anything wrong. It's just it asks you the question, and if you answer the question wrong to what you want, it says, well, it might ask you, do you want to leave that music on your computer, or erase it totally and only have it in the cloud? And you said, do I answer yes I do, or no I don't? It's one of those questions, where you say, if you think about it one way, yes, it'll be okay, and no. So which way is it going to do it? And I think that's where some people have got a bit confused. So they've also, as well, it says if you've got 3 versions of the same song, it keeps one and deletes the others. And if you don't be careful, it says delete duplicates. Well, sometimes you might have 3 versions of the same song, but it might just be you like that. It's just different times that bands have recorded, and you like one over the other, but you still like both of them. So it's like everything. You just got to be fully aware of what you're doing, and I think we're just getting too complacent and letting everybody else do everything for us, not looking after things ourselves sometimes. So I think we get what we deserve sometimes. So.
I am. Yeah, I think so. If we don't pay attention, most people do not pay attention to what is right in front of their faces. They just yes, no, yes, no. Oh, I'm not going to read that entire terms of service. Sure. And then all of a sudden, I had a friend at work the other day that was telling me, he asked me about, he sold a telephone to someone through eBay, and then it turned out that the person took the phone but then did not pay. And then eBay tried to hit him up for the money for the phone. I think that's how that worked. He suddenly owed money for this phone. And what happened was, and he said, well, there's no way they can expect me to pay for that. And I said, did you recently have a new terms of service type of thing? And he said, yes. And I said, well, you need to check it, because I'll bet that they have snuck this in there, that they have the right, because they actually checked. He had two different accounts, and they pulled money from the credit card on his other account, not even the one that he sold the phone on, but they went to another account that he had and pulled money out of that account to pay for the phone thing that he sold on this other account. And he said, well, that's not right. I said, you better check. They've probably got a phrase or a clause of some kind in there that allows them to do that, or they wouldn't be automatically doing this. You need to check on that. And so he went and checked and found out that, yes, they had snuck that in there. And then what he did was had the credit card company to basically suck the money back in. And then he canceled the account and stopped the whole thing. And, because this person scammed him really badly. They took the phone, didn't pay the price, and then eBay, or I think it was trying to get the money from him for the phone somehow, that he owed them several $100s. And it was like, what? And I said, that's probably the last thing you'll probably sell on there, right? And he said, definitely. He's had enough of that. But they really hit him hard with it. And just because the other person scammed him, but they came back on him and tried to get him to pay several $100s
because
who's
of it. Done the bad thing, if they can't get hold of them, will just go for the next person. And they said, well, we've got nobody else to try. And like you said, they don't ask you for that and tell you you've got to pay for it if they're not allowed to do it. They know they're allowed to do it. Because as I said...
Sure. And all it takes is, again, just a little clause they can slip in there. And they may not have to use it that often. But right now, America is such an amazing target for all of these people in foreign countries that know that they can scam people constantly over here. And the way they talk, you hear that it's justified. All those rich Americans over there, they can pay me $500 and I don't have to worry about it. And they just scam people constantly over here. Well, all of us have gotten these things from talking about they're an Ethiopian prince. Yeah, one of those. And a friend of mine at work got one the other day. Well, we got a scam talking about they were from the IRS and that we owed them X number of dollars. And then my friend's mother got the same email. And then there was a guy who was on this podcast that actually got that, and he actually investigated it. Then has actually befriended some of the people that work in the calling center on that. And it's, of course, in a foreign country. I can't remember exactly which country it was, but these phone numbers that they have you to call only last 3 or 4 hours before the IRS finds out about it and shuts down access to that number. And those people, as far as they're concerned, they are just working in a call center the same way somebody would work in the AT&T call center, or, it's just a job to them. Now, the people who are running it are obviously scamming, but the people who are working there, they just have a job and they work in this call center. And they make the calls and follow the script they're told to follow. And they may finally know, hey, actually, believe it or not, Eileen Smith just said something. said just finally gets to see us live. That's the first time I noticed that. Yeah, I don't know. It must have been a few minutes ago. There's one watching now, so whenever I didn't say anything, she must have jumped back out. But the thing was, these people that were being scammed, I mean, they're doing the actual scamming, reading the scripts. I don't think. They just have a job. They're not paying attention. And then they're in the same place because it's in a foreign country that the IRS doesn't have any jurisdiction over. But they just get them a new number.
One of the big scams over here to get you to click on things to get viruses bad Trojan viruses on your computer is from the Australian Post. Because if they send that out to 300,000 people, click here, you've got a package that hasn't been delivered. Click here, you found how many people's got that's waiting for a package. And whenever I get that, I know it's all, but I never click on that because they never usually do that. But sometimes, every now and then, they do send an email out. So I'm sure sometimes I've lost some, but you've got to know exactly when you've got something coming. and you think, now have I finished getting all my things? Because they'll do that. We had another one recently here where they've been sending out, I think, traffic infringements and that, or something that they never send out via email, and just said, or sending out court dates for your traffic infringement of $150, but if you want to cancel it, just pay now, and you don't have to do anything. And then they said, no, the police don't send out summonses for traffic infringements and that. They'll just they'll post it to you. They won't email it to you. So.
A package delivery email wouldn't work too much around here. As you know, I work for the Postal Service. We can track, we as customers go and can track the package as it goes from place to place, but we have to go and do that. We have numbers that we can go and type that number in, go to websites and track it that way. But as far as them constantly notifying us, the information's available, but we have to go get it if we want it. Yeah, as far as I know, there's nothing like that around. I think the it would be a little harder to pull it off over here because we have actual postal police, postal inspectors that actually would be hunting down those people. Postal fraud's a pretty big deal over here. I mean, they have the same authority as federal marshals. I mean, they will come busting in and will arrest you and throw you in jail if you do something like that.
They're nothing compared to the Road Traffic Authority. When they're sort of if people are worried about getting a fine, a police car, you've got better chance of getting off if a police car goes past you than the Road Traffic Authority, because they can seize your car, they can cancel your license for being overstacked with more people, and that they've got greater powers than the police most of the time, because they're the sort of the main authority for that. So. Oh no, there still is the police, but the Road Traffic Authority, they go in cars too, and they're sort of, they can still pull you over if they notice your car's not roadworthy. Or mainly what they do though is go around and pull over these big B-double trucks and fine them for being overloaded. But still, if they see a normal car that's on the road that said, well, that's not roadworthy, they can still slam you with a fine and get you off the road, and they still can do that. So.
Well, we have a lot of states will have what's called state inspection, which one of my cars needs that right now, and you have to take it to a local garage, local car repair garage, and they have to be certified in order to do this, and they're supposed to follow this so many point inspection, and then they give you a sticker, a certification sticker saying that your car is roadworthy, and and it's illegal really to drive the car until you do pass this inspection. And so a lot of people look at it as a big scam, simply because whenever they first got the thing installed, you'll go into some and people learn which ones are reputable, which ones are very, very tight on the inspections, which ones will make up things to repair, because they've got you over a barrel. I mean, you have to get this inspection. And so I had a friend that went to a place the other day to get an inspection, and it's a new place, and they set up, they were going to do the inspection, and they did it and everything like that. But when they came down to the end, they told him that he needed brakes, brakes repaired on the front of the vehicle.
Oh.
Well, him and his father had just replaced the brakes 2 days earlier before he brought it in. And so now this place, which is really just got set up in the last couple of months, is already getting a reputation for lying to people and trying to, get people to do repairs that don't really need to be done. Because, if the brakes are in great shape, and the thing is, though, they're brand new, so it almost makes me think they didn't look at them at all and then just lied. Because if they looked at them, they go, oh, those are brand new. You can't scam them on those, because they either had it done, or if they did it themselves, it's even worse. I'm not going there. I haven't been there, and I'm not going to go there. And so, I don't want anything to do with those people now. And this is a person that I trust told me this. So it's just kind of like, okay, this word of mouth stuff can really, really hurt your business. And
But
I've
then
already told other
there's the
people
other
about
end of
it.
the spectrum. There's the
Watch out for
other
these guys.
rogues
Don't
that
even
will
think
just
about
give
it.
you that certificate no matter what's wrong with the car, just for the right money. And that's worse because that's dangerous, I think. So.
Exactly. Mhm. Well, actually, the police around here over the last 2 or 3 years, this place I went to all the time, they had theirs revoked probably for about the fifth time. I've been doing business with these people for 20 some years, and they had theirs. They evidently were a little light on the inspection, so they got theirs revoked, and they finally decided they weren't even going to mess with it anymore. It just wasn't worth it. They do so much business anyway, and they're very honest and very um, very economical. I mean, I don't know how they do it so cheaply, except for the fact that they do such volume and they do such great business. And it's not like they're a bunch of dishonest people trying to do things to you. If anything, they really work hard to make it affordable for you. And so they evidently were not being hard enough on their inspections, and they got their license to do it revoked. And so, they don't do it anymore. So now I had to find some other place, but I found a place further down the road
Well,
that's
they'll soon
in a
to
similar
find out
vein, and I
because, as I
just
said,
take them
they
down
might
there and
not
then they
find
inspect them
out
for
off
me.
yours if your car is reasonable, but if they do it so often, those cars get pulled up, and they said, "Well, where's your roadworthy certificate?" That's what they call it here. Well, they know where you got it from, so the next place they're going to go to is them, and then they'll say, "Show me how many other cars you've done," and then they'll go around and visit them. And what they do on here, they slap a yellow canary on your car.
Right.
That's what they call it here, which means you can't drive it. That's what it is.
Yellow
So if you get one of
canary.
them, it's got to be off the road. So.
Right. Right. Mhm. Oh, we are set up to where, if they find a car that's just falling apart and it has a new sticker on it, there are people who actually do bootleg stickers to where they actually, you can pay, it's like 30 some dollars, I think, for the sticker, where you can pay $100 and they'll just give you a sticker. Some places there's like an underground type of thing. And so there's constant tracking of that type of stuff, trying to hunt those people down and trying to enforcement usually gets better or worse when you get closer to elections. And so whenever they're trying to do that type of thing, but so they are constantly even doing a little undercover work. They'll actually take a substandard car into a place and then let them do the inspection, acting like they're just a normal person, and then they nail them on it if they try to give them too easy. And sometimes, and the way these things normally go, they are trying to talk them into
or can't you just
fudging on the
overlook
rules.
when they've got a crack
It's
in the
kind of an
windscreen?
entrapment
You'll
type
never
of a
get
thing.
an approval if you've got that. It's can't you just overlook that? And if they say,
Sure.
"Oh, okay," and then they get in trouble. So,
Right.
But that's one of the big things here. If you've got a mark on the windscreen, that's one that will definitely fail you every time.
My brother years ago had this really old beat up car, and it had a big rusty hole in the bumper, and he had a bumper sticker over top of the hole. And the guy did the inspection, went ahead and gave him the sticker, and as
So
he was
he
getting ready
saw
to
it,
leave, he said, "Oh, by the way, I think you need to get a new bumper sticker." Yeah, he saw it, but because it just rusted hole right in this bumper. It was before they were all plastic. It was
like when I
old timey
said,
metal
just bought
bumper.
myself a new car, but I hate.
Need to get
I
you
know I could sell the old one and get much more money for it than you can when you trade it in, but I just can't be bothered with the rigmarole, because to sell it you have to get it roadworthy, and to sell it privately, and also as well, I'd rather sell it back, trade it into the dealer, then it's their problem. I would hate to sell it to somebody you knew and then it blows up or doesn't work out 6 months later, and they'll hate you forever. But if they take it, well, it'll go back to them. But and then I hate selling things like that. I'd rather get a little bit less and just have it off my hands. That's why I don't tend to use eBay a lot. I don't use it at all. I'm petrified that you do the wrong thing like your friend did, or somebody, and you can't get them to come to pick things up because they'll come and pick that up and take everything else, I think. So you don't want that. And once you put that in a postage pack and it goes off, I'm thinking, well, you'll never see that again, and hopefully you'll see the money. So there's a lot of trust in a lot of these things, even when you're looking at PayPal, because PayPal, a lot of time, I use that to pay for things, because they have the things you have, when they send it, you have to click on the verify that you've got it, because they don't pay the other party until you say you've got the equipment. So that is a bit more handy to use.
Right. They have something called Craigslist. I never have used it, but it's all your local area things. Now, we have these local papers. We have something called the Ad Bulletin, and it's just local people putting things in there. And then Craigslist has been notorious for people coming to your house if you meet them at your house and selling them the thing, and then just casing the place and then coming back later and robbing everything you have. We never had that trouble with the Ad Bulletin, even though it's local, and you don't. But now Craigslist is really notorious, and so people will go meet someone on a parking lot somewhere, so they don't actually see where you live.
A story many years ago, like we've been in Australia, the family here, what's it, 1970s, so it's 45 years? Yeah, 45 years. And when we left, I was only a little kid, but was leaving England, and we had to sell all the things up because we weren't bringing them. And we had to sell everything up, and we sold the parents were giving pretty much everything away. The pittance was charging for things. It was, like whole bedroom suites for £10 or something like that. It was next to nothing. There was pretty much who was doing it, but then they
were paying you to haul it off. That's what it amounted to.
We was moved out of the house, staying at aunties' places, and sold a few things, then came back the next day and there was nothing there. So somebody who'd got those ones decided to come back and take the whole lot. But like you said, it was a local area. So where we were in England was a local town. And Mother had an eye. She knew who had taken it because she knew the people in a town. Everybody who's around there. So she said, "Well, it's only them. Who's come back and taken it all, because nobody else would." Right. And so miraculously, after some threats went about, next day miraculously a lot of it turned back up. We came, opened the garage door, it was back again.
Well, wow.
And then it said, had nothing to do with my person. Nothing to do with that.
Yeah,
but
maybe
it
we
magically
just weren't
turned up.
attention.
Don't know how it got back there, but that was even that day I remember that. So I thought, I'm never ever going to sell anything where they come round to collect it, because that's what they do. They say, "Oh, you've got that. What else have you got?" And they're definitely all doing that.
Well, around in this area, it's never really been like that I'm aware of. Normally, whenever you have outsiders coming in, is whenever you run into trouble. The people who live here locally, and I mean even in this area in general, you have people constantly are having rummage sales, yard sales. I don't know if you call them a tag sale or whatever, at their houses. You come up, and it might be inside their garage, or it might be spread out in their front yard, and you just go out on Saturday, on a Friday evening or like a Saturday morning, and you just drive around and you see signs, and you go to someone's house, and they are selling things that they're finished with and they want to get rid of. It's just a normal tradition around here. And you rarely ever hear of anyone having a sale and then someone breaking in and taking their stuff. Because you can see things in their garage that are not for sale. Tools, yard equipment. Sometimes there was a full PA system and, all kinds of stuff like that they had that wasn't for sale because their group used it. Well, nobody came back and stole that the next day. Oh, and there were hundreds of people around. Oh, got a gnat in a room. There were hundreds of people there that day, but nobody came back and stole all their PA equipment. It's just not part of the culture here to do that. And so whenever I've read about that on the audiobook that I did, that's what they were talking about. You have to be really careful with Craigslist, and I'm thinking, that's not the way things are around here, and it really kind of
Yeah, well,
surprised me that you had to be so
I've come to the
careful
conclusion
whenever you were
whenever I
using
buy
Craigslist.
anything, I buy it knowing full well that that's the end of it. I'm not going to get any money back
Hmm.
for it. And if somebody happens to say I want that, and a friend,
Hmm.
yes, I might sell it if
Yeah.
that, and then they'll get a good bargain. But whenever I buy anything, I buy it knowing that that's mine, and I'll do it until it doesn't work anymore. And well, it's too old, and nobody will want it because the technology gets so old that nobody will want it. Like I've got some video cameras there that you can't even give away. I've actually got a couple more that somebody's given to me because they don't want them.
All right. Well, mhm. Well, as far as electronics and things like that goes, those things go out really rapidly. But there are things that here you would really be surprised that people would really want. For instance, we got a new mailbox, and so the old mailbox, I took our neighbor's mailbox, which was identical to the one we took down that had been kind of smashed. I took the flag off of it and put it on their mailbox since the flag was broken on their mailbox, and I just went ahead and put the flag from the other one on there. So I have a mailbox that is, and again, it's plastic. It's one of those Rubbermaid type mailboxes. It's plastic, does not have a flag on it, and just had it sitting out there with a bunch of rummage sale type of things, clothes and dishes and different things. Somebody wanted it.
Well, I've got
A
this one
mailbox
here.
without a
This is my little
And so it's
trusty
like, okay.
Canon digital digital video camera, or the DV with the digital video tape. With the tape that's so old fashioned, nobody'd want it. But that's one.
Yes.
But what I keep it for, it's got the the inputs at the side in there with the FireWire connection. So what I use it for, it's a analog to digital converter. So I plug into a mixer from my old VHS and beta recorder, and anything else I can do my camera. So it goes out from there into there, out from there into the computer. So that's all I use that for. That's all. I don't use it as a camera. I use it as a
nice.
analog to digital converter. And I thought, well, it's not getting anything any good for anything else. So I thought, well, why not use that? So it's worth that more to me to be able to get some of all the old technology that you want to convert tapes across, and I do with me 8mm tapes and all that. So, and then that hooks up, so I can hook up any source and get that into the computer, and very cheaply. But as I said, it suits me. But at the time, that probably would have cost $500 or $600, I would think. But now nobody will want that because if you can get the tapes. But the quality is so pathetic compared to the nice digital cameras these days, the HD ones, and they're probably next to nothing.
Oh, exactly. Well, and at the same time, though, sometimes you can continue to use something like that for that specific purpose, and it keeps you from having to buy new equipment during the year of no buying. Because you would have had to have bought something that does that particular job, but since you already have something that will do it,
what I think I'm going to do for the rest of the year, rather than buying something,
you just continue to
rearrange my studio downstairs. So I'm going to, yes, I might buy a long network cable, but that's about it. So, but that's not a bit of equipment anyway, I don't think. So,
yeah.
But that's one of. Yeah, that's right. Who would let me do that?
We'll let you buy on that.
But yes, no. All I want to be able to do is, because I'm trying to get away from. I like being up here now because it's a bit cooler with the going out of winter. But I know even here with the air conditioning going in this bigger room, when it gets to be 113 outside, it's going to be fairly warm. Under these lights, whereas the other studio, it's a smaller room, the air conditioner keeps it much cooler. So, well, that's.
Oh, okay. Sounds good. Yeah, we're getting ready to go into, like I told you before, into fall, into autumn, which we have 3 distinct seasons here, and we're getting ready to go into autumn, and that's when I come alive. By summertime, I hibernate. in the fall when things get like that. I mean, I've got plans to go outside and do all kinds of things, and so my tech stuff has a tendency to slow down a little bit. And I start going outside and doing things, and so it's, again, I'm going to build that little fireplace thing. We'll do some cooking outside, and we'll do the little things you might normally do.
We
in
have
a campsite.
3 distinct seasons, but they tend to be in the same day.
And
because I was saying today, I went out to the post office at lunchtime, and I got an umbrella. It was howling a gale. It was pouring down with rain, and it was cold. And by the time I came out of the post office, the rain had gone, the wind had gone, the sun was out, and it was quite warm. You just can't. And I thought it's only in Melbourne where it can be hideous, and then 5 minutes later it's back. It was back to summery weather, but then by the end of the day it'll be autumn type weather. But that's where I love the weather we have here, is because you never settled into anything. So it could be 113 degrees, and then in 3 hours it could be 45. It can have such a, but the people just don't understand. That's why they say we do have 3 seasons, but they tend to be in the same day on that. And we quite often have, it'll be winter, it's winter, then all of a sudden it's summer. And then it seems to know, so it could be cold one day, then all of a sudden it's very hot, and then same thing the other way, hot, then all of a sudden it becomes cold again. So very rarely that we just gradually get into seasons. I think that's why we just say, okay, it's spring now, and that's it. But we've had a lot of rain, but that's usually when we do get a lot of rain is in spring, so we do need that.
Okay, yeah, our heavy rainy season would be more in the spring too. That's when we usually have flooding and things like that around here in West Virginia. Would be more in the spring, but then it gets summer and it's really hot and humid. Okay, and then it was really hot this year for our standards. It usually doesn't get above 100 around here. Occasionally we'll have that, but then in the fall it starts to kind of drift back down again, and you'll have what you'll have is at the beginning of September you'll start to see a cooling off trend, and like you say, today it got probably above 80 or so, but then at night it's getting down to 60, things like that. But then toward the end of September you usually have what they call dog days for some reason, and then it'll get really blistery hot for maybe a week, and then fall sets in for good, and then it starts being 50s, 40s, things like that, up to 60 or 70 during the day at the very most, and then winter kicks in, and that happens. The real winter doesn't kick in until January. That's when you start having heavy snows. January and February, heavy snows, but you can have a big snowstorm as late as March or April. Sometimes we've had huge, what they call the Easter squall, which whenever Easter happens, you can have a huge snowstorm as late as April, but it's uncommon.
Well, that's the same here, but
January and February is whenever you're waiting for the snow.
We tend to have the hot weather, so that's the February is usually the hottest here. So on that, but as I said, depends, and it can go into Easter. But we always know Easter is always. You can almost guarantee that it's going to turn horrible then, because it's the last time with the holidays, last camping holiday for the season, so it's going to be terrible, because everybody wants to go out camping, and it nearly always rains, and it's horrible the last one for the season. So God, we'll get
we always have a family reunion on July 4th, and it has a tendency to be pretty miserable, because the hottest months we have seem to be July and August. For the most part, that's usually the hottest months and hottest.
It looks like we're nearly at we're nearly at an hour again, like aren't we? Yeah, 58. So yes, and
I do believe so. I'm going to have to apologize to Miss Eileen, because she said, "Howdy, I finally see you guys live." And I didn't notice it.
That was your only job, wasn't it, to keep your eye on the chat room?
I was too busy talking.
That's the thing, is when you do look at the camera, like I haven't looked at you most of the night. I've been looking straight into the camera, just peering off a little bit, and just see you sort of, because it's a bit jittery, the feed tonight. But you see on our thing, the next show, the next weekly catch-up will be number 21.
Yeah, it has been.
And I've got a little thing, and no show next week, so I'll be travelling. I'll be in Queensland next Wednesday night. So I'm thinking, see if I'll take the camera and hopefully do record something up there. But as I said, it's for work, so I'll be probably travelling light, so I don't know whether I'll take anything up with me, but I'll try to, and I'll try and get some of this video thing done and put that on the show. And I've got to get that Dropbox to see your voiceover anyway.
I know. Like I say, I'm not trying to showcase so much about what I'm doing, but I know you're interested in what it sounds like whenever I do something like that. So, but this was a quick rush job, took less than half an hour. So, you know,
anyway, so
when you already have it set up, you can go ahead and turn it out rather rapidly.
Especially Eileen, probably the yes. And sorry we forgot.
Yes, Miss Eileen, thank you so much.
Hey, if I had the bandwidth and if I knew how
that's my fault.
if I was
totally
we might be able to have a guest on if I could do that, because I could open up the Skype on this machine and have somebody else dial in. So I could do, but I don't know how that would work with the bandwidth. So we'll leave it for another show anyway. So.
Well, it might be something to where you would have to interview someone and me not actually be on there, and then call me as soon as they were done.
I think I'm going at streaming
and
at
do
94%.
It that way. You may have to do it.
It's taking up 93% of the CPU at the moment, so I don't think I've got much more room to move anyway. So anyway, thanks again.
I would say probably that's the best way to do it. Then.
We won't see you next week. We'll be having a week off, and we'll see you we may not see you the week after, because I think you're on vacation. So it depends on what you're doing. We're planning to, but you never know, do you? So. Okay.
Yeah, like I said, I plan on keeping the schedule as best I can. We'll see what we can do.